In the Cold War's darkest hour, British engineers built a machine so advanced, so audacious, that it sent shockwaves through the halls of power in both Moscow and Washington. It was called the TSR-II, a supersonic strike aircraft designed to fly below Soviet radar and deliver a nuclear payload with pinpoint accuracy. It was, by every measure, a masterpiece of engineering, a decade ahead of its time. So why did it never enter service? Why was this world-beating jet cancelled? The story of the TSR-II isn't just one of technology. It's a story of spiraling costs, bitter political infighting, and intense pressure from competing global superpowers. To understand what was lost, we must go back to 1957. The Royal Air Force urgently needed a successor to its aging subsonic fleet of Canberra bombers. The official requirement was brutally demanding: a jet that could fly at Mach 2 at high altitude, but also hug the terrain at nearly the speed of sound, completely blind in any weather. The challenge was immense. A new consortium, the British Aircraft Corporation, was formed. Their mission? To build the most advanced strike aircraft the world had ever seen. At its heart was a revolutionary piece of technology, a fully automated, terrain-following radar. The TSR-II wouldn't just fly low, it would read the landscape, becoming a thinking machine. Powering this marvel were two massive Bristol Siddeley Olympus engines, the same revolutionary power plants that would later be chosen for the Concorde. Finally, on a gray day in 1964, the first prototype, serial number XR219, was rolled out of the hangar. The world got its first glimpse of the future of air power. On September 27th, with test pilot Roland Beaumont at the controls, the TSR-II took to the skies for the very first time. It was immediately clear that this was no ordinary aircraft. Despite being ordered to keep it slow, Beaumont found the jet was so powerful, it broke the sound barrier on its maiden flight, with one engine shut down and the other at partial power. The test flights continued, each one proving the aircraft was a triumph. It performed flawlessly, flying at over 600 miles per hour, just 100 feet above the ground, with a ride the pilots described as impossibly smooth. But the TSR-II's success was a problem for the Americans. They were developing their own similar aircraft, the F-111, and they wanted the UK and the world to buy theirs instead. Back in London, a new government had come to power in 1964. Their priority was not world-beating technology, but cutting Britain's massive post-war debts. The TSR-II, with its ever-increasing budget, was in their sights. The new defense minister, Dennis Healey, was a fierce opponent of the project. He believed the future lay not in manned bombers, but in nuclear missiles. The writing was on the wall. On April 6, 1965, the announcement was made.
The project was canceled as the test pilot landed from another flawless flight.
He was told he would never fly the plane again. Work stopped immediately. But it was worse than just cancellation. To ensure the project could never be revived, the government ordered everything to be destroyed. The completed aircraft, the assembly lines, even the blueprints were to be burned. Amid the destruction, 2 airframes miraculously survived. Smuggled away under the guise of being used for noise testing, they were hidden until it was safe to reveal them to the public. And the ultimate irony? The American F-111, the aircraft Britain was supposed to buy instead, saw its own costs spiral out of control. The UK's order was eventually cancelled too, leaving the RAF with nothing. To fill the critical gap left by the TSR-II, the RAF was forced to adopt the Blackburn Buccaneer, an older subsonic jet designed for the Navy. It was a capable aircraft, but it was not the future. The human cost was immense. Thousands of Britain's most brilliant aeronautical engineers lost their jobs. Many were immediately hired by the Americans, going on to work for NASA and playing key roles in the Apollo moon landings. The true measure of the TSR-II's brilliance is this: the Panavia Tornado, the jet eventually built 15 years later to do the exact same job, could barely match the TSR-II's projected performance. It remains one of the greatest what-ifs in aviation history. A phantom of a future that never was, a reminder of a time when British industry reached for greatness only to have it snatched away. Decades later, the questions surrounding the cancellation refused to fade away. Was it truly just about the budget? Or were there other, more clandestine forces at play? Many of the engineers believed the project was sabotaged, that the United States, fearing the TSR-II would dominate the export market, put immense political pressure on the British government to cancel their own creation. What if they were right? In a world with the TSR-II, Britain would have remained a world leader in aviation. Its fleet of nuclear-capable, terrain-hugging jets could have altered the strategic balance of the Cold War. Some even dreamed of a commercial future. The advanced aerodynamics of the TSR-II could have been adapted, potentially leading to a British-made supersonic airliner years before the Concorde ever flew. For the men who built it, the pride never faded. They knew they had created something truly special, a machine that represented the very peak of their ingenuity and the best of British engineering. A lost future. A ghost in the sky. The TSR-II remains the ultimate symbol of a dream that was cancelled, but a legend that will never be destroyed. This video was made entirely using Sora 2 from OpenAI. If you liked watching this, stay tuned for more mini British documentaries.